Do 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 do.
Phenomena.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about cheap flights, how to find them, where to get them, and why are they so cheap? So I have a lot of experience in this area because as soon as I left university, I started my career in travel and I still work in travel. So I have a lot of years of experience through different various companies and I sell flights quite a lot. So I know exactly where to find flights. I know where to find my own flights if I need to purchase them, which is why I get to travel so much, because I know where to find them. So I'm going to share this experience with you guys so you can find some cheap flights as well. So I started off as soon as I left university working for a tour company. So we used to do sports tours specifically. So I used to book a lot of groups, so a lot of people at the same time. And then after that I worked for another sports company where I used to help with people doing their flights as well. I then went on to work for a massive company. I'm trying to name no names here because I could get into trouble. And it used to be like an inbound call centre for agents to contact me so I could book their flights for their customers as well when in store. I now work for another company where I book flights pretty much every day. So I know quite a lot about flights and booking them as well. Before I get to where you can get cheap flights from, I need to take you back to basics. So some of this will sound really boring, but it's really important to help you find flights and what kind of tickets you need to buy in order to get the right deal for you guys as well. Because sometimes you can't just buy the cheapest flight out there. You need to buy the correct ticket in order for what you're purchasing. So for your holiday, it needs to be the correct ticket. It might need to be flexible, stuff like that. So bear with me, I will answer the question. I just need to get through these little details first in order for this information to be accurate for you. So flight tickets aren't just tickets, there are different types of tickets. So you might need a different ticket depending on what you're doing. So for example, I started my career in group travel, so I used to sell a lot of group tickets. If you're buying a ticket for maybe you and your friends, so that's 8 passengers or more, nothing less, then you'll need a group ticket. For that, I recommend going to a travel agent or something like that, because if you all want to go on the same flight, when you book them, you could be purchasing them at different prices, and there is a good reason for that, and I'll get to that for you. So if you want to all purchase the same ticket and you want to be sat together as well, you need to purchase them together as a group. So you will need to contact a travel agent for that and they will help you book that ticket. And then everyone will be buying the same price. Because when I went on a sports tour and we all flew with, who did we fly with? I think it was EasyJet. We had some people buy their tickets at maybe 30 quid. Yeah, really good. And then some of us bought them at £120, which was not so great for the rest of us. So if you buy them as a group ticket, everyone will pretty much get a good price on those tickets as well. But, you know, if you want to buy a £30 ticket and you don't care about your friends, then yeah, get in there first. The second range of tickets that you need to be aware of is an IT ticket. This is a ticket which you purchase with something. So like, personally, I do a lot of tours. So if you're doing a tour like with Trek America, Contiki, Top Deck, Intrepid, anyone like that, or other tour operators, there are loads out there, you will need to have a look at a ticket that you can possibly deposit on. These sort of tickets are flexible, so if you need a flexible ticket, then yes, that is probably the best one for you, and it is more secure with your package of your holiday as well. If you are going on a tour, ask the tour operator if they do flights as well, because more likely you're going to get a ticket that is more secure with your package. So don't think if you go to a tour operator they're going to give you extortionate flight prices. Sometimes they can actually get you really good flight prices as well. So ask your tour operator, do you sell flights, and get a quote from them as well. And one really good note, if you are buying a tour, if you're going on a tour, group tour operated tour, through a tour operator, do not buy a ticket online which is non-changeable, non-refundable unless your tour is guaranteed. If you buy a ticket online, so a really good cheap ticket online, the tour operator gave you a really more expensive price, do not buy it unless your tour is guaranteed. I do tours quite a lot, and if your tour isn't guaranteed, basically it means that if they don't reach that amount of passengers in order to operate the tour, so the minimum amount of numbers that they need, so for example Trek America I know is 4 or 5 passengers, if they do not reach that limit, your tour might get cancelled. If you buy a ticket, so if you do external arrangements, they will not reimburse you for that money. So if you buy external flights, you're completely on your own if you've purchased a tour which is not yet guaranteed. I hope that makes sense. It sounds really awful what I'm saying, but I just want you guys to be protected, and I want you guys to make sure that you buy the correct ticket. If your tour is guaranteed, then great. If you find a better flight price elsewhere, brilliant. But always make sure that your tour is guaranteed if you're going to purchase flights elsewhere. Yeah. And that leads me on to the final ones, which is basically, they're called published tickets. Published tickets. These flights are basically flights that you mostly find online. Most low budget airlines are published tickets. Flights that you get from your travel agents most of the time, unless you're buying a holiday with them as well. Quite a lot of the tickets you find online, and also through the airline directly. Most of the time they are online. You will be able to know what kind of ticket it is by reading the terms and conditions, really, and seeing if it is a flexible ticket, in which case you can change your flight for a fee, or if it's a published ticket and it's basically non-changeable, non-refundable. Don't buy those. I don't like buying published tickets unless I'm just doing a really short haul flight, like to Edinburgh or to somewhere in the UK, that I've basically got next to nothing, so I don't really care about it anyway. But if you're doing a long haul holiday, you need to prepare to make sure that they are changeable, because your plans might change, especially if you do your ticket like a year in advance or something like that. Then yeah, you want your ticket really to be flexible. If you're booking it for a holiday that you've already got in advance, then try and get it together with a package that you bought from your travel agent or whoever, because then it's going to be more secure and more protected. So how are tickets actually priced? Have you ever been online and you're like, oh, I really like the price of that ticket, and then the next day you have a little look and it goes up like £100, it's like £200 more, and you're like, what? I checked it yesterday and the day before it was so much lower. There's a reason for this. Basically, when you do flights, there are these things called classes. You might hear this quite a lot, and when you check your ticket, sometimes there's a little letter next to your economy sign, and that's the class of the ticket. Each airline has maybe 12 classes of ticket, for economy that is, and then they have classes for their premium economy, their business class, and then they have first class. So they have different classes, and then obviously the first class they maybe have two classes, so basically 2 little letters. Business class has like maybe 4, I think. Premium economy have the same, and then economy have lots and lots of classes. They're not in alphabetical order. I don't know why they're different letters for each airline most of the time. So basically, each class, so let's say, I'm just going to choose a random letter, A. So letter A class is an economy class, let's just say, because it might be different for each airline. It's very random. So A is like the first class, and each of these classes has 9 seats available at the same price. So A has 9 seats. Once A gets sold out, then the next class will be available, which has another 9 seats, and they will be maybe £30–60 more expensive. So that's kind of how it works. So when you look online and you see that, this flight to maybe New York is £180, bargain. It probably won't be that. That's in class A, and you can't see how many seats are left available in this class because it's all behind the scenes on what we call a GDS system. So So people like myself can see how many seats are left available in that class. So maybe when you have a look at it, there is basically only 1 seat left in that class. So it only takes that one person while you're asleep to book that last seat, and then when you wake up in the morning, the next class is available and it's £60 more expensive. I hope that makes sense. When you see a really good deal, book it. That is basically the moral of the story. Getting into a bit more technical detail, sometimes airlines like myself, I can hold seats for maybe 3 days. So we can hold that, and then if that person doesn't want it, then we can release it and put it back into the system. And that's why sometimes flights, very rarely, can go down, because travel agents like myself, tour operators, can hold seats, and then they can release them, go back in system, and then that flight price can go down. That's one of the ways when people release seats. And then the second one is when there's a sale on. And that is the only way seats can go down. Most of the time you will see flights go up. And that is because the more and more people that book onto those flights, the more expensive it's going to be, because they're using up all the classes. I hope that makes sense. It took a while for me to get my head around this as well when I first started in the travel industry, so God knows what you guys are thinking right now, but I hope that makes sense. So where should you buy flights? So like I said before, if you're booking through a tour, so I know quite a lot of you that watch my channel do like my Trek America videos. If you're booking a tour, always ask the tour operator if they do flights. That is the best way to make sure your flights are secured. Most of the time it will be depositable as well. Like I bought my flights from Trek America, and I bought them on a deposit, and then I didn't have to pay the rest till 8 weeks prior to departure. Those are the best flights because they're protected, they're depositable, and they're flexible as well. So I changed my flights maybe 3 times when I first booked my Trek America trip, and they were for various reasons. But yeah, that was great that I could change my flights. If you're booking maybe a short haul holiday, like I do quite a lot of short haul trips, then you can always book them through websites, so online. Skyscanner is a good one. Sometimes I have a very hate-love relationship with Skyscanner, purely because when you go online to Skyscanner, they are not live seats. So all that information I just told you about classes, they don't update that information regularly. So maybe they do it, I don't know how long they do it in advance, maybe 24 hours, I'm not quite sure, I don't know how their system works. But basically when you book, when you go to press the button in Skyscanner, it then takes you to that company's website, and that flight price might have gone up already. And that's the most annoying part about Skyscanner, that it's not updated regularly, and the price you see on Skyscanner might not be the price that you see when you get there. Other great ways to get flights for cheap are from your travel agent, because they do all the great legwork that you don't want to do. So obviously shopping around is a great way to make sure that you get a good price, but obviously it takes up a lot of time. So obviously when you're booking flights, you need to book them straight away, because that flight price might go up. And you will always hear from travel agents and tour operators that flight price that they've quoted you is only valid there and then, because in 10 minutes time, if you call back to that travel agent, or when you go back into the store the next day, that price might probably have gone up because more people have booked onto the flight. Reality! People other than yourself want to book that flight. Sorry. So yeah, get into your good old travel agents, because they do a lot of work, and they will look through different websites, and they will look through, they will call different people, different agents that they know of, to different tour operators, different airlines, and they will find the best price. So get into your good old travel agents, because they're lovely people. They are lovely people, and I speak to a lot of travel agents all the time, and they are great. They do so much work. So yeah, they will probably find you the best price within a short amount of time, so you don't have to shop around online and stuff like that, because you know that's annoying. The only other way is to subscribe to as many cheap flight people as possible. So like Ryanair, EasyJet, Netflights is also a good one, and they will send you deals on when they have sales on and stuff like that. So there are other great locations in order to find flights. So like I said before, there's only 2 ways of getting cheap flights, and that is purely if seats are released, which you'll never see and you'll never be aware of, and the other one is when there is a sale on. Sales are amazing. They only happen every maybe quarter for big airlines, like hardly ever. And obviously the biggest time to get flights is in the January sale. That is when they do great deals. Other than that, the best time to also get flights, which is highly recommended, is 11 months prior to departure. If you want to book a flight for next year, then you need to make sure that you book your flight as soon as it comes out, because that is when the least amount of people are booked onto the flight. So no one's booked all those classes yet, the flights haven't gone up. That is when you're going to get the cheapest ticket available, because that is when minimum amount of passengers are booked on, because they've only just been released. So that is the cheapest way to get them. The only other way is when there is a sale on. So one of those two ways is when you're going to get a really cheap flight. Other than that, low-cost airlines. But low-cost airlines, you get what you're going to get. Whereas I love airlines like British Airways and Virgin for my long-haul flights, because I just love a great tea. And I know that I'm going to get some decent entertainment when I'm on the flight. So yeah, those are the airlines I use personally, because I absolutely love them, and I've been gaining my points and I want to go up a level in my classes on my membership cards. And I want to get into the lounge. I'm dying to get into the lounge. I've been in there once on a business trip and I'm just dying to go back into the lounge. You can't beat a good old free bacon butty really, and a good old tea. So definitely, if you are going to be going with a particular airline all the time, that is also a great way as well. Because personally, I have a British Airways membership card, so I'm very close to getting to the next level of my membership card, so I can get in like priority seating, I can get priority check-in, and there's loads of other ways and loads of other things that I can get by moving up in a membership card as well. And I just really want to get in the lounge. You can also collect points by flying, and tier points, which will increase your membership card. You can also collect points when you go into Tesco's as well. So I used to go to Tesco's all the time when I used to commute to work every day and buy my petrol. So I gained a lot of Avios points. So that's how I got my ticket to Amsterdam as well, really cheap, because I used my points and got a really cheap ticket through British Airways, and I got luggage involved, whereas cheap airlines, they won't let you bring additional luggage without paying for it. So yeah, that is also another great way of getting a cheap flight, by sticking with one particular airline that you really, really like I like British Airways. This is not a promotional advert, by the way, just like them, just saying. And then collecting your points and then using those points to travel again. So that is also another great way of getting a cheap ticket, by being faithful. So here's some last minute tips as well that I've got for you. Shop around, but make sure you do it quick, because the longer you shop around, the more chance of those flight prices going up. O-Class special. If you hear the word special, especially, special, especially, when someone says that to you, that means that it is a sale. So if they say that to you, get it, because that you're probably not going to get a cheaper ticket than that. Always book your flights through someone who is ATOL licensed. ATOL means Air Travel Organisers License. Basically that means that if that company goes bust, then you are covered for your flights. If you don't, then you know, if they go bust, or if there is a volcano erupting somewhere, like we had that massive Iceland issue a couple of years ago, then your flights are covered and then you're protected. ATOL. Make sure they are ATOL licensed. If you are booking a tour, make sure you get a quote from that tour operator. Your flights will be more protected. There is a chance that you will be able to put a deposit down on your flights and then pay the rest later on. And there's more of a chance that your ticket will be flexible and you'll be able to change your flight if you need to. Remember, flights are available 11 months in advance from your departure date. So the best way of getting your flights cheap is by booking them as early as possible, or getting them in a sale. January summer sales are the best. Fact. And my last tip is to make sure you book your flights quickly. So if you see a good, decent flight price for a change, then book it, because there is a chance that that flight price will either disappear or go up dramatically. Do not hang around to book your flights, and definitely do not wait to book your flights maybe a month before traveling because you are going to get an extortionate price. Remember, flights are priced by how many people are booked onto that flight, and the closer the departure it gets, the more chance of that flight being full, and therefore it's gonna be expensive. Okay guys, so that is my guide of how to book cheap flights. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Mana mana. Mana mana.